morning, students. Now we are going to discuss about Geography, Chapter 2, Drainage. Students, in our last class we have learnt about the Himalayan Rivers. Now we are going to discuss about the Peninsula Rivers. Students, the Peninsula Rivers are the rivers which are originating in the Western Ghats. See, these are found in the Peninsular Plateau region and these are non-perennial rivers. Students, a non-perennial river is one that is partially or fully dry for part of the year. Students, the peninsular rivers are also called seasonal because their flow depends upon rainfall. They get their source from the Western Ghats hills in the mountain ranges and they have the impact of the seasons. In summer, most of the time, the level of the water will be less when compared to the rainy season and the winter season. And their sources are from the Western Ghats and the rainfall region. Students, the important rivers of the peninsular plateau are Narmada, Tabi, Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna and Kaveri. All these are important rivers and these all originate in the Western Ghats, flow towards the east and fall into the Bay of Bengal. That means most of the peninsular rivers originate from the Western Ghats and they flow into the Bay of Bengal. The main water divide in peninsular India is formed by the Western Ghats, which runs from north to south close to the Western Ghats. Students, a large number of peninsular rivers are seasonal as they are dependent on rainfall. See, they have short and shallow courses. Students, do you know the drainage basin of peninsular rivers are small in size? Let us discuss about the east flowing rivers and the west flowing rivers. Students, the east flowing rivers are the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri. Students, these rivers drain into Bay of Bengal. These rivers form deltas on the east coast. These rivers have developed a large tributary system. The east flowing rivers are the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri. Students, river Godavari is the largest peninsular river. The west flowing rivers are Narmada and Tabi. See, these rivers drain into the Arabian Sea. And these rivers do not form any delta. They form estuaries. What do you mean by estuaries? Yes, estuary is an area where salt water of sea mixes with fresh water of river. Estuary is the tidal mouth of a large river where the tide meets the stream. Students, the east flowing rivers are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. The west flowing rivers are Narmada and Tabi. The east flowing rivers drain into Bay of Bengal. The west flowing rivers drain into Arabian Sea. The east flowing rivers form deltas. The west flowing rivers form estuaries. Students, this is the difference between the east flowing rivers and the west flowing rivers. Students, name the peninsular rivers flowing westwards and also make estuaries. Yes, the Narmada and the Tabi or the peninsular rivers flow westwards and also make estuaries. The Narmada and Tabi are the only long rivers which flow west and make estuaries. Moving on to understand the Narmada Basin. Students, in this topic we will discuss about some important facts about the Narmada Basin. Students, the Narmada rises in the Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh. That means they get their source from Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh and falls into the Arabian Sea. It flows towards the west in a rift valley formed due to faulting. Rift Valley means a long narrow valley formed by land between two parallel faults subsiding, often associated with earthquake activity. It flows towards the west in a rift valley formed due to a geological fault. Students, River Narmada flows through deep gorge forming picturesque location. On its way to the sea, the Narmada creates many picturesque locations. The marble rocks near Jabalpur and the Dudar Falls form picturesque location. The Narmada River rises in Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh. The marble rocks near Jabalpur and the Dudar Falls form picturesque location. The marble rocks near Jabalpur, where the Narmada flows through a deep gorge, and the Dudar Falls, where the river plunges over steep rocks, are some of the notable ones. Students, all the tributaries of the Narmada are very short in length. Most of its tributaries join the main stream at right angles. The Narmada Basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Friends, what do you know about Narmada Basin? Yes, Narmada Basin formed in Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. The Narmada River rises in Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh. They get their source from the Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh and falls into the Arabian Sea. Students, the Narmada Basin creates many picturesque locations. Name two of them. Yes, the marble rocks near Jabalpur, the Dudar Falls. Students, from which place Narmada River rises? Yes, the Narmada River rises in Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh. Moving on to understand the Tabi Basin. Students, the Tabi rises in the Satpura ranges in the Betul district of Madhya Pradesh, and it flows in a rift valley parallel to the Narmada, but it is much shorter in length. Its basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Students, the river Tabi rises in Satpura ranges in the Betul district of Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra are the states which covers the Tabi Basin. Students, the coastal plains between Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea are very narrow. Hence, the coastal rivers are short. The main west flowing rivers are Sabarmati, Mahi, Bharatbaza and Periyar. Students, do you know why coastal rivers are short in length? Yes, coastal rivers are short in length because the coastal plains between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea are very narrow. Students, now I am going to revise important features of the Tabi Basin. Students, you know the Tabi River rises in the Satpura ranges in the Betul district of Madhya Pradesh. It also flows through a rift valley parallel to the Narmada, but much shorter in length. Listen to it. Yes. Its basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Let us discuss about the Godavari Basin. Students, the major Peninsula Rivers are the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri. See, these rivers flow eastwards and drain into the Bay of Bengal. On that time, they make deltas at their mouths. Now, we will discuss about the Godavari Basin. Students, the Godavari is the largest peninsular river. They get their source from the Western Ghats. It rises from the slopes of the Western Ghats in the Nasik district of Maharashtra. Students, its length is about 1500 kilometers. River Godavari travels for nearly 1500 kilometers. Students, it is joined by a number of tributaries such as the Purna, the Varda, the Pranhida, the Manjra, the Vinganga and the Penganga. Students, the last three tributaries are very large and collectively called the Dakshin Ganga. That means the Manchra, the Vinganga and the Penganga together known as the Dakshin Ganga. Because these rivers are very large and cover a large area. Therefore, they are known as the Dakshin Ganga. Students, the river Godavari rises from the slopes of the Western Ghats in the Nasik district of Maharashtra. The Purna, the Varda, the Pranhita, the Manchra, the Vinganga and the Penganga are the tributaries of Godavari. Moving on to understand the Mahanadi Basin. Students, the Mahanadi Basin rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh. Then it flows through Odisha to reach the Bay of Bengal. Since Mahanadi Basin covers parts of the states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Maharashtra. It rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh and flows through Odisha to form a delta in the Bay of Bengal. Students, the length of the river is about 860 kilometers. Its length is 860 kilometers. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Odisha. Students, from where does the Mahanadi River rises? Yes, Mahanadi River rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh. Due to the devastating floods that the river causes every year, the Hirakud Dam has been built on it. Students, what do you know about the Mahanadi Basin? The Mahanadi rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh and flows through Odisha to reach the Bay of Bengal. The length of the river is about 860 kilometers. Let us discuss about the Krishna Basin. Students, the Krishna River from a spring near Mahabaleshwar flows for about 1400 kilometers and reaches the Bay of Bengal. The length of the river is about 1400 kilometers. Students, some of its tributaries are the Tungabhadra, the Koyna, the Ghataprabha, the Musi, and the Bhima. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. That means Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh are the Indian states which shared the Krishna Basin. Students, River Krishna rises from a spring near Mahabaleshwar. You know the total length of Krishna River is 1400 kilometers and it falls into the Bay of Bengal. The Tungabhadra, the Koyana, the Ghataprabha, the Musi, and the Bhima are the major tributaries of River Krishna. Listen to it. Students, which Indian states share the basin of Krishna River? Yes, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh are the Indian states which shared the Krishna Basin. Moving on to understand the Kaveri Basin. Students, the Kaveri Basin rises in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghats and it reaches the Bay of Bengal in the south of Kadalur in Tamil Nadu. See, the total length of this river is about 760 kilometers. Students, its main tributaries are Amravati, Bhavani, Hemavati, and Kabini. Kaveri Basin's main tributaries are Amravati, Bhavani, Hemavati, and Kabini. Its total length is 760 kilometers. Students, its basin drains part of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu are the Indian states which shared the Kaveri Basin. Students, beside these major rivers, there are some smaller rivers flowing towards the east. They are Damodar, Brahmani, Bedarni, and Subandreka. Students, name the Indian states which have Kaveri Basin. Yes, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu have the Kaveri Basin. Students, the river Kaveri makes the second biggest waterfall in India, known as Sivasamudram. The second biggest waterfall in India, which is made by river Kaveri, is Sivasamudram. See, it is used to generate hydroelectricity. Students, the hydroelectric power generated from the falls is supplied to Mysore, Bangalore, and the Kolar goldfield. Let us discuss about the composition of water on Earth's surface. Students, 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Listen to it. Yes. But 97% of it is salt water and only 3% is in the form of fresh water in rivers, lakes, ponds, glaciers, and ice caps. Students, name the biggest waterfall in India. Yes, the Jog Fall is the biggest waterfall in India. Students, name the second biggest waterfall in India, which is made by river Kaveri. Yes, the second biggest waterfall in India, which is made by river Kaveri, is Sivasamudram. It is used to generate hydroelectricity. Moving on to understand lakes. We find many lakes in India. See, these lakes differ from each other in the size and other characteristics. Most lakes are permanent, but some contain water only during the rainy season, like the lakes in the basins of inland drainage of semi-arid regions. Students, lakes are useful to human beings in many ways. They are tourist destination and also used for sporting activities like boating, swimming, water sports, etc. Students, India has many lakes. There are permanent as well as seasonal lakes. Seasonal lakes contain water only during the monsoon season. For example, the lakes found in the inland drainage basins of semi-arid regions. For example, the Sambar Salt Lake in Rajasthan. See, its water is used to produce salt. Lakes in India are formed by different processes such as action of glaciers and ice sheets, by wind, river actions, or human activities. Students, a meandering river across a floodplain forms cutoffs that later develop into oxbow lakes. Listen to it. Yes. Spits and bars form lagoons in the coastal area. Students, lagoons means a stretch of salt water separated from the sea by a low sandbank or coral reef. For example, the Chilika Lake, the Pulicat Lake, and the Kolleru Lake. Students, Chilika Lake in Odisha is the largest saltwater lake in India. It is the wind ground for migratory birds of the Indian subcontinent. Moving on to understand freshwater lakes. Students, most of the freshwater lakes are located in the Himalayan region. Students, these lakes are of glacial origin. It means that they formed when glaciers dug out a basin which was later filled with snowmelt. Students, freshwater lakes are mostly found in the Himalayan region. These are usually formed by a glacier and filled with water by melting snow. Students, the Uller Lake in Jammu and Kashmir is the result of tectonic activity. See, Uller Lake is the largest freshwater lake in India. It is the largest freshwater lake in India. Other freshwater lakes are Bhimtal, Loktak, Nainital, and Barbani. The Dal Lake, Nainital, Bhimtal, Loktak, and Barbani are some other important freshwater lakes. Friends, do you know some lakes are artificial? Because they are created by humans for the generation of hydel power. See, man-made lakes are formed when the rivers are used for generation of hydroelectricity by constructing a dam across a river. For example, Guru Gobind Sahar is such a lake. Apart from natural lakes, The damming of the rivers for the generation of hydropower has also led to the formation of lakes such as Guru Gobind Sagar Bagranangal project formed by damming the Sutlej. Students, now I am going to revise lakes. There are many lakes in India. These differ from each other in the size and other characteristics. Most lakes are permanent. Some contain water only during the rainy season. The Sambar Lake in Rajasthan is a saltwater lake. The Wular Lake in Jammu and Kashmir is the largest freshwater lake in India. The Dal Lake, the Bhimdal, Nainital, Loktak and Barbani are other freshwater lakes. Apart from natural lakes, the damming of the rivers for the generation of hydropower has also led to the formation of lakes such as Guru Gobind Sagar Bagranangal project. Let us discuss about role of lakes. Students, lakes are of great value to human beings. See, it helps to regulate the flow of a river. During heavy rainfall, it prevents flooding. Listen to it. Yes. Lakes help to regulate the flow of a river. During heavy rainfall, it prevents flooding, and during the dry season, it helps to maintain an even flow of water. Hence, lakes can also be used for developing hydropower. It can also be used for developing hydropower. It moderates the climate of the surroundings. Maintain the aquatic ecosystem, enhance natural beauty, helps develop tourism and provide recreation. Friends, do you know how lakes become seasonal? Yes, lakes in the region of inland drainage are sometimes seasonal. For example, Sambar Lake of Rajasthan. What are freshwater lakes? Yes, freshwater lakes are mostly found in the Himalayan region. Listen to it. Yes. These are usually formed by a glacier and get filled with water by melting snow. Students, name some freshwater lakes of India. Yes, the Wular, Dal, Bhimtal, Nainital, Loktak and Barbani are some freshwater lakes. Students, do you know how are man-made lakes formed? Man-made lakes are formed when the rivers are used for generation of hydroelectricity by constructing a dam across a river. Let us discuss about role of rivers in the economy. Students, rivers have played an important role throughout human history. Water from the rivers is a basic natural resource essential for various human activities. They provide water for irrigation, facility for navigation, fisheries, and they provide water for domestic use like washing, cooking, drinking, etc. Listen to it. Yes. They also help to generate hydroelectric power. Students, growing domestic, municipal, industrial, and agricultural demand for water from rivers affects the quality of water. Students, rivers are polluted by domestic, industrial, and agricultural waste. This affects the quality of water. Students, the causes of river pollution are untreated sewage, agricultural waste, industrial waste, and oil pollution. Let us discuss about untreated sewage. Students, the discharge of untreated sewage into rivers is the single most important cause for pollution of rivers. Large amount of untreated sewage are dumped into the rivers. This affects the self-cleansing capacity of water. Let's discuss about agricultural waste. Students, if a large amount of fertilizers or farm waste drains into a river, the concentration of nitrate and phosphate in the water increases considerably. Let's discuss about industrial waste. Students, chemical waste products of industrial processes are sometimes discharged into rivers. These substances may enter the water in such high concentrations that fish and other animals are died immediately. Next, oil pollution. Students, if oil enters a slow moving river, it forms a rainbow colored film over the entire surface, preventing oxygen from entering the water. This causes death of many water organisms. Students, increasing population by urbanization and industrialization also contribute to river pollution, which has increased to very high levels. Students, how can it be prevented? Yes, treatment of industrial and urban waste before it is dumped into the rivers. So, various action plans have been started to clean rivers. For example, the Ganga Action Plan, the Yamuna Action Plan, etc. Emphasizing on the technologies used to reduce river pollution by promoting recycling of water, improvement of water quality. Moving on to understand National River Conservation Plan. Polluted by domestic, industrial, and agricultural waste. This affects the quality of water. So, the central government sponsored scheme of National River Conservation Plan is being implemented by the central government jointly with the state governments on a cost sharing basis. Since the pollution abatement work under NRCP presently covers polluted stretches of 39 major rivers and 152 towns spread over 16 states in the country. The activities of Ganga Action Plan Phase 1 initiated in 1985 were declared closed on 31st March 2000. Students, the steering committee of the National River Conservation Authority reviewed the progress of the Ganga Action Plan and necessary correction on the basis of lessons learned and experiences gained from Ganga Action Plan Phase 1. These have been applied to the major polluted rivers of the country under the NRCP. GAP is Ganga Action Plan and NRCP is National River Conservation Plan. Students, the Ganga Action Plan Phase 2 has been merged with the NRCP. Students, the expanded NRCP now covers 152 towns located along 27 interstate rivers in 16 states. Students, under this action plan, pollution abatement works are being taken up in 57 towns. A total of 215 schemes of pollution abatement have been sanctioned. So far, 69 schemes have been completed under this action plan. 1,000,000 liters of sewage is targeted to be intercepted, diverted, and treated. Students, what are the causes of river pollution? How can it be prevented? Yes, rivers are polluted by domestic, municipal, industrial, and agricultural waste. Listen to it. Yes. This affects the quality of water. Large amount of untreated sewage are dumped into the rivers. This affects the self-cleansing capacity of water. At the same time, increasing population by urbanization and industrialization also contribute to river pollution, which has increased to very high levels. So, the central government sponsored scheme of National River Conservation Plan. Students, river pollution can be prevented by treatment of industrial and urban waste before it is dumped into the rivers. Various action plans like Ganga Action Plan to clean up river Ganga. Emphasizing on the technologies used to reduce river pollution by promoting recycling of water, improvement of water quality. Students, lakes and rivers are of great value to human beings. Water from the rivers is a basic natural resource. essential for various human activities. Listen to it. Yes. Students, do you know which two rivers form the largest delta? Yes, River Ganga and River Brahmaputra form the largest delta. For example, the Sundarbans Delta. Students, why are rivers important for the country's economy? Yes, the rivers provide water as the basis resource that is used for various activities. Listen to it. Yes. The river banks have attracted settlers from ancient times. Students, do you know these settlements have now become major cities? Rivers provide water for irrigation, navigation, and for generation of hydroelectric power. Rivers have also promoted agriculture, the most important economic activity of a country. The rivers tend to have a moderating influence on the climate of surroundings. They also help to maintain the aquatic ecosystem. Students, now I am going to revise the Himalayan rivers and the Peninsula Rivers. Students, the Himalayan rivers are perennial rivers. They get water from both the melted snow and of heavy rainfall. The peninsular rivers are seasonal. They depend on rainfall only. Students, the Himalayan rivers flow continuously all along the year, even in the summer and in the winter and in the rainy season. They flow on they maintain equal balanced amount of water in their sources. So, they continue with a huge amount of water in their journey. So, these are known as perennial rivers. The peninsular rivers are the rivers which are originating in the Western Ghats. These are found in the peninsular plateau region, and these are non-perennial rivers. See, they get their source from the Western Ghat hills in the mountain ranges, and they have the impact of the seasons. In summer, most of the time, the level of the water will be less when compared to the rainy season and the winter season. Students, the Ganga, the Indus, the Brahmaputra are the major Himalayan rivers. The Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, the Kaveri, the Narmada and the Tabi are major peninsular rivers. Students, the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri are the major east flowing rivers of peninsular plateau. But the Narmada and the Tabi are the major west flowing rivers of the peninsular plateau. Students, the east flowing rivers drain into the Bay of Bengal, the west flowing rivers drain into the Arabian Sea. Students, what are perennial rivers? Yes, the rivers that have water throughout the year are called perennial rivers. Students, perennial rivers receive water from rain as well as from melted snow. Students, which are the three major Himalayan rivers? Yes, the three major Himalayan rivers are the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Students, name some freshwater lakes of India. Yes, the Ular Lake, the Dal Lake, the Bhimdal, Nainital, Loktak, and Barbani. Students, now I am going to revise important terms. At first, drainage. Students, drainage means the river system of an area. What do you mean by river system? Yes. Generally, when we discussed about any particular river along with its tributaries, the area where it flows is called the river system. River and its tributaries together is called river system. Let's discuss about drainage basin. Students, drainage basin means the area drained by a single river system. When a river is flowing through a particular area, the area where it is draining, where it is passing through, where it is flowing continuously, that is known as the drainage of the river. And when a river is flowing through a particular region, We call it as a river basin or we also call it as drainage basin. Moving on to understand water divide. Students, water divide means an elevated area such as a mountain or an upland that separates two drainage basins from each other. When a river divided by an upper elevated land, it may be a hill, it may be an elevated part of any landmass which will divide the flow of the water into two parts is called as water divide. Students, now I am going to revise drainage pattern. Drainage pattern means the pattern in which the river flows, depending on the slope of land, underlying rock structure, as well as the climatic conditions. That means the pattern formed by a river in a drainage basin depending upon the slope of land, rock structure, and also climatic condition is referred to as drainage pattern. Students, there are four types of drainage pattern. They are trellis pattern, dendritic pattern, rectangular pattern, and radial pattern. First, trellis pattern. Students, in this system, the tributaries can be seen meeting the main stream at right angles. This exists where hard and soft rocks exist parallel to each other. Let us discuss about dendritic patterns. Students, it is the most common and widespread pattern to be found on the Earth's surface. See, in this pattern, the tributaries come from all directions to meet the main river. Like the branches of a tree, the small streams meet larger streams, and the larger streams meet the much larger streams. In the end, they meet the river. This develops where the river channels follows the slope of the terrain. Students, dendritic pattern means tree-shaped pattern. Next, rectangular pattern. Students, rectangular pattern of drainage develops on a strongly jointed rocky terrain. Now we will discuss about radial pattern. Since radial pattern develops when streams flow in different directions from a central peak or dome. Students, a combination of several patterns may be found in the same drainage basin. Students, list the factors on which the drainage patterns depend. Yes, the slope of the land, the rock structure, as well as the climatic condition of the area are some factors on which the drainage pattern depends. Students, what is the total length of river Indus? Yes, the total length of river Indus is 2900 kilometers. Students, name the Indian states which have Kaveri Basin. Yes, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu have the Kaveri Basin. Which is the world's largest and fastest growing delta? Yes, the Sundarban Delta is the world's largest and fastest growing delta. Students, now we are going to discuss about the Sambar Lake. Students, it is India's largest saline lake and has made Rajasthan the third largest salt producing state in India. Do you know it produces about 2 lakhs tons of clean salt every year? Students, what are freshwater lakes? Yes, freshwater lakes are mostly found in the Himalayan region. Listen to it. Yes. These are usually found by a glacier and get filled with water by melting snow. Name some freshwater lakes of India. Yes, the Ular, Dal, Bhimtal, Nainital, Loktak, and Barbani are some freshwater lakes. How are man-made lakes formed? Yes, man-made lakes are formed when the rivers are used for generation of hydroelectricity by constructing a dam across a river. They are created by humans for the generation of hydel power. Students, give the full form of GAP and NRCP. Yes, GAP is Ganga Action Plan and NRCP is National River Conservation Plan. Students, do you know why are the rivers of Western Ghats very short? Yes, The coastal plains between Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea are very narrow. Hence, the course of these rivers are short as they do not have much water and drain small area of the states. These rivers are seasonal in nature. Thank you.